Hey guys, welcome to the show. Joey and Paul here. Today we're talking about finding good coaches in your gym, some of the struggles we've had with it in the past, and what we now do, which has enabled us to have and create really great coaches here in our gyms. Enjoy. Hey, quick thing. Share this episode with a friend if you like it. If you dig the show, share it with someone. It is a really good way to help to support it. That word of mouth thing is one of the most powerful means of marketing a podcast. But also, wherever you're listening to this on, give us a 5-star review, like and subscribe, all that shit, because it really does support the show. It's the one thing we ask in return for giving you these nuggets. Thank you.
Smooth. I thought that was a machine doing it.
Oh yeah, baby. Digital. You're probably better, like the coaching thing, right? We've been sort of chatting a bit about this before the show, but you've been more in the trenches with this in the last few years. But the coaching thing is never, like, it's always been a point of contention for the managers of a gym.
Yes.
How would you summarize,
Mate.
like what's it like trying to find good coaches?
It can be difficult, for sure. And I guess, besides just, and I haven't prepared for this episode. I wish I did, but, things that
You're
come...
spending your whole life preparing, dog.
It's true for this moment. I guess beyond just a good coach who can run a good session, like operationally, we're looking for someone who fits in the team and wants to hang around and who wants to grow here. So beyond just being able to do the thing on the front end, there's quite a few other kind of prerequisites that you're kind of looking for a person as well to fit into the business with that kind of mid to long term view as the owner of the business. Like, you don't want to be getting just awesome coach, they can do a good job, but I don't know, they just hang around for 3 months or whatever, or they don't buy in socially to the tribe, et cetera, et cetera. So... the first thing that came to my mind, you told me about the topic, but we just jumped in now. I think firstly, like, they've obviously got to align with the values of the gym. And that's the values that we have set for, the Alliance, which is firstly around the training. And that's really important because, you can't fake this shit. You can't fake your values. And... Mate, most people know that. Like, you got to have people that are on the same page as you, and not just on the front end, but kind of on the back end and that deeper kind of personal view of the world and what we're doing here.
Yeah, you can't be like we can have specialist coaches in our gyms, but you can't have a coach that's like, barbells are the only thing that matters, and bodyweight training and flexibility is bullshit. Don't waste your time on it. Those coaches are out there. You can find them probably at a powerlifting gym. And not even throwing shade. It's just an interest and a philosophy. But that doesn't work here because we're telling people, no, man, you need to get good at the barbell stuff and get strong, but you got to do the other shit too. It all matters. So yeah, philosophically, they've got to have those values too, huh?
Yes, yeah.
But they don't have to be excellent, but at all of them, but they have to respect the other field and be open to that.
Yeah, and then, personality-wise, look into the personal values as well as the training. Like, they got to align as well, as in, you just need to get along with them. You can't have someone who just, I don't know, their politics is out of alignment with yours, say, or they're just not good at fucking being a team player and getting along with the team and all that sort of thing as well. Which kind of leads me into, like, as a coach, delivering of the program and the exercise, like, they also have to have that kind of 51% hospitality kind of trait in them, which means they have to care. They have to be able to display empathy. And I say 51% because they don't have to be the best at it and the absolute pinnacle of an empath, but they need to have, that thing which actually, cares for that person over there and might take some time out of their training just to go over there and talk to them.
Yeah.
It's just you either have it or you don't. Just kind of trying to make it real simple. And we can kind of grow that from there with, the systems that we have for onboarding coaches, etc.
Yeah, so to that point, I think it's relatively new that we came around to it's not about someone that's got all of the skills in the training.
Yes, yeah.
Like we can build that.
Yes.
But it's about finding the right person.
Yes.
With the right sort of qualities from a personality standpoint.
Yeah. And so they don't have to be the perfect and best coach when they come to us, but they do need to have these underlying values and personality traits, I suppose, that we can work with. Yeah.
So we used to prioritize the exact opposite.
Yes.
Which was it was an approach and it made sense at the time. It was like, let's get the best coaches, the people who are the best at every discipline. Let's get the best jiu-jitsu guy, the best weightlifting coach, the best flexibility person.
And that was all you.
I ticked all those boxes. It's true. Yeah.
You just used to coach all the classes, bro.
That's true, bro. I never realized, but it's all been downhill ever since I stepped into this joint. But that made sense, right? I was like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Like we got the elite of the elite, and then that's going to draw the people in. But then you realize, then we learned, the elite are the elite because they're just single-mindedly focused on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not really focused on diversity of their training.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really focused on the social component of what we think is important here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go out on weekends or whatever. They don't come to the social events and have a drink and, because they need to get to bed at 7:30 and fucking train on a Sunday morning, And so you're like, fuck. You want that skill set, but you also want them to have this other stuff.
Yeah.
So then you're like, it sounds boring, but you're looking for someone that has a balance to all of it. Which I think that was reflective of us, right? Like at different times I've been more in on the training and whatnot, but I think that collectively we've always had a balance between living a good life, healthy, happy, training a bunch, looking after ourselves, but not extreme on any of those fronts.
Yeah. Yeah, so they don't want to be exactly like us. Like we're not looking for people to just clone copies. But yeah,
I wouldn't be mad.
Says the only man who listens back to his own podcast.
Well, I stopped that weeks ago.
Been doing it 8 years, just stopped weeks ago. No, and that brings me to another thing, in no particular order. But yeah, they want to fit in with the team.
Yeah.
So if you're going to hire them, you're looking at the dynamic of the team as a whole, because one rotten apple, of course, and it's more so they want to fit in with the balance of the skills that you have in there, maybe the ages of your coach, so you have a good diversity from a couple of older coaches, some younger ones, because they all are slightly different personalities, and I think it makes for a good team that has a good perspective. Right now, two of the coaches came up to me and just said, "Man, how's the team vibes right now?"
Oh wow,
it is so good right now. It is good. And we were just reflecting on it, and so we've had definitely worse times.
yeah, hasn't always been smooth sailing,
but they're quite good now. So you've got fucking Cowboy Sam, and he's quite young.
Yep.
And then you've got kind of myself and Dylan. Yeah, it's just a good mix. I like it like that.
Yeah,
and I think it works well because you are treating the general population, and we're trying to bring a wide variety of people into the gym. So you don't want all young coaches, who are all into the same thing, just kind of simply put.
Yeah. For whatever, many practical reasons there, right? A 22-year-old coach isn't really able to empathize with a mother of 3 kids who just got a divorce and, just fucking get into the gym, mate, make it happen. That's a really good point. Thinking back to the old days, we had a team, but we never saw it as a team. It wasn't like, hey, what's the team think? It was just these are the coaches. We didn't have staff meetings or any of that stuff.
True.
But, that's obviously something that this place holds as really central to its mission now, right? I think back to some of the coaches we've had in the past. We've had a heap of good ones. We've had plenty of coaches that were great in one setting. They might have been really successful as a personal trainer in a big commercial gym operation. But that doesn't mean that bringing them into our gym and putting them in front of the members and saying, run this program, that they're going to be great at that. And I just remember, and I kind of give this example all the time, but there's so many little things that you're like, you don't realize until you're watching it unfold, like they're coaching the class and you're like, oh, fuck, no one told him or her not to do it like that. Like, why are they, you know? Things like music choice, footwear. I remember one of our coaches used to come in with like hiking boots because he'd come from running a boot camp in the mornings.
God damn.
And then he'd come in like wearing hiking boots. It's like, man, we're pretty much a barefoot gym and you're wearing fucking hiking boots. But, you know, how do you say that to, it's odd to say that to someone once they've been here for a while. Hey, can you not wear those shoes, dude? So you realize we really need to cover this stuff at the beginning. But I think the fundamental kind of idea there is that them as a technician, like who can teach exercises and who have an intimate knowledge of the exercises, that is not the most important thing. You want a good person that gets along with the team, is not, you know, happy to work with people, like wants to help, like is passionate about helping, good communicator, upfront with people, you know, relatively confident. And you can teach them then the exercises and turn them into a technician.
Yep.
How's that play out?
Well, what I'm thinking, two things that I was just riffing with Dylan about this morning over brekkie was basically translated into you need to have people who have a growth mindset. So you might interview and this person is that perfect person. Say you had the perfect person who actually ticked all those boxes, but were kind of like at the top of their own mountain and were quite satisfied with being there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They tick all the boxes, but they're there. And so we would rather have someone who, you know, maybe is not that far along the journey, but is really looking to continue development over a long time. And then they have the traits of whatever it is, you know, humility, that kind of white belt mentality and curiosity and interest in the field and the art of it, that they want to just keep learning all the time. And that became really important to us. I remember off the back of, what's your boy's name from the gym over in San Diego or Venice?
Logan.
And I remember you bringing a lot of that sort of energy from him because he had his people on board and they had to read a book on mindset. Remember?
The Carolyn Dweck book was called Mindset.
You know, and I've heard that echoed in other places over the years for people talking about hiring, and it's one thing that you really want to have with, you know, onboarding your staff. So the second part of the conversation, and this is kind of more strategically for the business owner, is if you're going to have someone and you want them to hang around, then you really need to be mindful of giving them a career path or a growth path. So if they come in here, there's got to be some sort of value that they see in here that's not just the dollar.
Yeah.
So it's like they're coming here because they are a specialist at this and this, but they see actually they want to get better at this.
Yeah.
So you have to have some there for them to grow into, and just be mindful of that there's always a bit of, you know, grass for them to walk into over time. So having the mindset and then having the space and the thing that they're looking to improve on is like something that you really need to consider.
Yeah, it's such a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can maybe be hard to identify the growth mindset piece until you encounter someone who doesn't have it. And people will have it in certain realms and not in others, or with certain people or at certain times. But, you know, when you're trying to pass on feedback to somebody or you're trying to teach them something and they're understanding it, but they are not taking it on board. And you feel that and you're like, fuck, I'm not getting through it all.
Yeah.
And that's that person that you're like, man, if like whatever the thing is that's making you not take this on board, that's what's making you not ideal for this position.
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
You need someone that can just be like, yeah, man, like, cool, how can I improve that? What do I need to do? Yeah, I'd love to hear what you think.
And that's why they have those, you know, HR has those questionnaires, like interview questionnaires, and they almost always feature, and I wouldn't say that we use them, you know, well enough here, because coaches come to us and we'll talk about how we actually find them. They'll always have a question that is about, tell us something in your career that was really difficult that you had to overcome. And then they say, and how did you deal with that? Have you ever had a time in your professional career where you had friction with someone else, and then how do you overcome it? And that's always...
And the responses to those will give an insight as to...
Because how do you ask someone, you look at their CV and it doesn't really tell a story. How do you ask someone directly? And they're built in such a way that if you ask the right questions, you're looking for those traits inside of the responses.
Yeah, do you think you can find those with a written... Because I'm thinking, it's like everyone, like anyone listening, I got a growth mindset. I'm down to learn. But then it's like in the actual moment when someone is telling you some shit, you shut down. But you're younger than me, I'm not listening. Or I've been doing this longer than you, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, can you, or is it the kind of thing where you actually got to spend some time with somebody?
Well, I think obviously spending time is going to give you a more accurate kind of story about that person. But I think, in an interviewing process, you don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
So you're really just trying to narrow it down to ballpark, I suppose. So if you are in HR and you're like, obviously, that's why my industry gets paid billions of dollars every year, and you want to help us,
send us the questionnaire.
Send us the questionnaire and give us we'll coach us a little bit more on these interviewing techniques.
So I suppose to that point, the way that we go about it is, we're not an enormous organization, right? We don't need like a whole department dedicated to bringing people into the business and handpicking the right ones. But it's a more protracted process, isn't it? Like people have to jump through more hoops to become a part of it. And for us, we see those hoops that they have to jump through as being kind of the thing that separates the people who really want it from those that kind of don't want it that much.
Yep.
Starts with the coach certificate, the weekend course. We've got one coming up, 21st, 22nd September. You come in 2 days. I tell you all that. We state it explicitly. Hey, you got to be open to critical feedback. Are you okay with someone telling you you did a shit job of that?
Yep.
Here's how you could do better. We try to make that very clear. Again, everyone says they're very fine with it. But then from there, right, they've completed that 2 days. What would you be looking for? So say someone, one of the recent coaches, they're like, yeah, cool, done my coach's cert. What would you be doing before? Would you be doing anything before you throw them in front of a class?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were putting me in their shoes. What would I do if I was them? So they finished the coach's intensive. What would I do then?
Yeah. Before they can have a gig here at Botany.
Well, we ask people to train in here for three months, and that sounds pretty crazy. And we do it's kind of case by case basis because we don't hire like big swathes of coaches in one go. It's usually just one here, one there. So we usually have people spend a significant amount of time enough in the gym training with people. That kind of actually touches on another thing that we learned, which is another box to tick, is you got to live close to here. We've had really great coaches that cross-tick all those boxes, but actually don't live near here. And happy to travel, though, and you're like, oh, they're happy to travel. They tick all the other boxes. It fucking kills you later.
Eventually,
it eventually kills you. So if they do need to train here, you have to live close to be able to think that that's easy enough to do. And anyway, you just need to train here 3 times a week or do your training here with us for a period of time. And we're HQ. We got pretty high standards. I think everyone should have high standards. And what that's ended up happening is like we have this kind of natural thing where either a member's ended up becoming a coach here, and you'll probably talk on that in a second, or we've had coaches who just love what we're doing and want to get into what we're doing. They start training here as a coach or taking coaching from one of our coaches, and actually that's how they end up spending their 3 months. But if someone comes in cold and I don't know anything about them, yes, they've done the coach's intensive. We're looking to have them spend 3 months training in the gym. When they do that, and the intention's there, we're letting them train with us as well in the coaches sessions. We're letting them sit in on meetings and stuff as well. So there's actually pretty good fucking value for them for that 3 months.
Yeah. It's a very it's a very detailed kind of integration into the whole business.
Mm.
Yeah, the 3-month thing, like I think for some people, depending on the circumstances, can be a bit unrealistic. But when you get someone, like you'll often get someone who comes on and is like, oh yeah, I want to train here. I'm a coach. Wouldn't mind maybe looking at a coaching gig. At some point you're like, great, like become a member. Let's train, get to know the place. Let us get to know you. And then by the time, you know, that you're thinking about maybe doing the coaching thing, you'll already be integrated here socially and everyone will know you. And so that specific pathway of be a member first and then move into coaching has been the most successful approach I think we've ever taken with this side of things.
And just having that, like we needed a framework or parameters set, like we didn't have that before. So it came out of fucking just not burning relationships, but things just not aligning and not working. We're like, what is it? And asking those questions. So yeah, it is. There's exceptions to the rules because there's always different cases of, you know, how people come to us. But yeah, that's generally what it is. Just spending that time and you know, if you want to be a coach here, and what we ask is, we want coaches who want to be here full time. They want to run their full business here, not to have a here and I'm at 2 other gyms. Then, well, you're going to train here, right? So just
why is that? Why do you want them here full time?
Well, first of all, because we've had others that are a little bit here, a little bit there, and that hasn't worked because the buy-in's just not there. They're not in the social events, etc. Again, there's little exceptions here and there, but we want people to be all in here. Like, why wouldn't we? So look for that person who would want to come here. It's like, well, assuming that you train 3 to 5 times a week as a coach, start doing your training here. And you live close, do your training here and work in that gym, and when you're ready, come across.
Yeah.
So so it's the training and spending time.
Yeah, and there's two key reasons for having people be a member first and then become a coach after. One is it allows them to fully appreciate what it is that we sell here because they experience it as a customer first. So they know the product, they understand the whole onboarding process, they understand what the training feels like and the way it's delivered and the member's journey. But the second part is that they are part of the social fabric of this gym. And so when that person then transitions into coaching, they are then making that transition in front of all of their friends who are the people in the class. And so their friends are supportive of that. They're like, holy shit, you're going to start coaching soon. Wow, what class? You're going to be coaching this class? Like, that's so awesome. Like, good for you, Pauly. Fucking, man, I can't wait to be coached by you because you're one of us. But when you're not integrated into the social fabric, you don't get either of those two things. And not only do you not know the product, but the members are cautious of you because the tribe is a little bit cliquey. The tribe is used to who it's used to. So when we go, hey, here's this stranger who's like really good, like here's what we know about him, blah, 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 good friend of ours. You've never met him before, but they're going to be great. You're going to love them. People like, you know, I'm crossing my arms now. They're like, who's this cunt? You know, it's just, it takes time. And that can be problematic because if that new coach doesn't put their best foot forward consistently from day one, they potentially lose some of those people. Gym's not what it used to be. I don't know about the new guy. You know, there's just all of that potential friction. So while it does sound maybe to someone who's like, I'd love to get a job there, 3 months, that's a bit of an ask. It is actually the most, we believe it's like the most efficient path to success for the long-term viability of that coach, you know, and them igniting their business within their space and for us having them here for a long time.
Yeah, and it's a 12-week commitment, and is what we're looking for is that commitment to that transition time. Exactly what happens in that 12 weeks might change on a case by case. So, like in the case of the latest person we onboarded, Choco, like before the 12 weeks was out, he was shadowing classes already. You know, because he was training. He's still training in classes now. He's a fucking ledge.
Yeah.
And you know, it looks different from person to person.
does. There it is, guys. Hope that helps you. If you've got the coaching piece and you want some help with it, hit us up. If you are thinking that you'd like to work in one of our gyms, come and do our coaches cert. That's a great place to start.
And we probably didn't speak enough about that. But yeah, obviously you have to have all of that stuff too, all that under your belt as well.
Yeah. Need your qualifications, need to have done the coach cert. So yeah, get at us.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Paulie.
Thanks, bro.